the Burari Deaths. July 1st, 2018. Mr. Gurcharan Singh comes out of his house for his daily morning walks. It was close to 7 a.m., and every morning, usually his neighbor Lalit would join him. And that day, Lalit wasn't out, so Mr. Gurcharan Singh decided to look over the end of the street for the shops owned by Lalit's family to see if they were open. Because usually they opened up by 5 or 5:30 a.m., and today it was already 7 a.m. and the shops were closed. So Mr. Gurcharan Singh decided to call Lalit. The phone went unanswered. So Mr. Gurcharan Singh decided to walk over towards Lalit's house since it was nearby. He saw that the front door was wide open, so he walked in. He went up the stairs, and the scenes he saw in the house would be the national news headlines the next morning in every major Indian news outlets and media outlets. He saw 10 people hanging from the ceiling, and in the back room, a 80-year-old lady dead. After seeing this, Mr. Gurcharan Singh ran out of that house, walked towards his house, and couldn't believe if it was real or fake. It was real. Hello everyone. My name is Sabit, and you're watching Sabit Explains. And today, we dig deep into one of the most psychologically mysterious and thrilling deaths. This is the story about the Burari Deaths. The Chundawat family had been living in Santnagar, Burari for close to 20 years now. They were businessmen who had local shops, a grocery store, and a plywood business. The family had moved here from Haryana with the hands of their patriarch, Mr. Bhopal Singh. 20 years ago, Mr. Bhopal Singh had sold his land and cattle in Haryana and moved over to Delhi for a better life with his family. Him and his wife Narayana Devi and their 5 children. Out of the 5 children, 3 of them lived together in that 3-story house in Santnagar, Burari. Now, let me introduce you to the family. At the top of the family tree, Narayana Devi, 80 years old, the grandmother, the matriarch, the woman who had held this family together after her husband, Mr. Bhopal Singh, had passed away. Her eldest son, Pavnesh, 50 years old, ran the family grocery shop. Steady, reliable, and kind. His wife, Savita, 48, their children, Neetu, 25, Maneka, 23, and their 15-year-old son, Dhruv. Mr. Bhopal Singh and Narayana Devi also had a daughter named Pratibha, 57 years old, a widow. She had a daughter named Priyanka, 33 years old, who had just gotten engaged 2 weeks ago before the deaths. And then the youngest son, Lalit, 45 years old, who co-ran the plywood business of the family. Lalit's wife, Tina, 42 years old. Lalit and Tina's son, a 15-year-old, Shivam. 3 generations, 11 people, 1 roof. Now here is what every neighbor had to say about the family. The neighbors described the Chundawat family as being kind, generous, and a very well-to-do, regular average Indian family. They even said that even if they had customers who came to the shops and the customers had a shortage of cash, the family would still take care of the customer with whatever they intended to buy. Just 2 weeks before the deaths happened, the family was celebrating Priyanka's engagement. After a long time, they had matched someone for Priyanka, and they were planning a December wedding as well. The family had a big party with their friends and families, and the neighbors were also invited. They had music, songs, dancing, food, joy, everything. And then July 1st happens. Now you may question, why would 11 people of the same family die in the same night? The answer of that mystery lies in the same house. To understand the Burari deaths, you first need to focus on the youngest son of Bhopal Singh, the 45-year-old Lalit. So Lalit's story doesn't begin in 2018. His story begins in 1988. In 1988, he had a major motorcycle accident, because of which he had a head injury and fractured his skull. The investigators now believe that 1988 motor accident had a huge impact on Lalit's life. In 2004, Lalit had a disagreement with his then employer in a plywood business, and those people locked him up inside the plywood business store and burned the building. Now somehow Lalit was able to survive that, but a huge amount of trauma was in his mind and his body. And after that 2004 incident, Lalit stopped speaking. He would only communicate via gestures with his friends and family. The doctors said that it would take time for his trauma to heal. Then in 2006, the patriarch of the family, Mr. Bhupal Singh, had passed away through natural death. And as I mentioned, Lalit was already like fragile because of the series of events and traumas that he had on his fair share of life. This death of his father like shook him. Like he was completely blown away by the sudden death of his father. Several months or even years after Mr. Bhupal Singh passed away, Lalit was still silent, like he wouldn't speak. Then one day, like they were doing their regular like Hanuman Chalisa puja, or a ritual that they did where they used to recite verse from their books. And during that time, suddenly Lalit spoke. His voice came back spontaneously. After years of silence during a prayer, Lalit started to speak. And this was a sudden thing, and it was a moment of joy for the family and the neighbors as well. Records say that a neighbor asked Lalit like, what happened? How did you start speaking again? And Lalit mentioned that I saw my father in my dreams, and he said that he would guide me. And now, coming from a South Asian family where a man is usually looked up as the head of the family, and when that head of the family passes away, the family is kind of looking for guidance and lost. And during this time, when Lalit says that his voice came back because he saw his father, the family emotionally accepted that fact. They didn't question it. Now, the most mysterious thing about this story is that after like Lalit got his voice back, he started to lead the family. And we found out about these through 11 diaries that were recovered by the police after the deaths happened. 11 diaries which were found inside the house, and those were the main clues for the investigators for this case. Now let's dig deep into the diaries. The police found 11 diaries in the family's home temple. The 11 diaries were allegedly written by the two daughters, Priyanka and Neetu. It had hundreds of pages, instructions, stories, and different sections. A handwriting analysis found out that it was written by Neetu and Priyanka, but the dictation was given by Lalit. And in the diary, something weird was found. It mentioned that Lalit claimed to have his father's soul inside of him, and that his father returned through him to guide the family. Sounds insane, right? Investigators also discovered that Lalit had been watching a lot of paranormal videos on YouTube, started researching about afterlife on the internet. That added fuel to his delusion. The diaries contained household rules, a strict daily timetable where every family member had to follow. The family stopped eating meat, Bhavnesh stopped drinking, and here is the trap. As they followed the rules, the family saw progress. They saw success. They had opened up multiple shops. Business was good. Spiritually, everything was going great. Priyanka's engagement was done. So there was no doubt in their mind that this could be wrong. The proof was all around them. The instructions in the diary were working, so nobody ever questioned them. Then came the final diary entry, June 24th, 2018. The final entry described a ritual called the Badh Tapasya, the banyan tree puja. In the diary, it was instructed to the family members by Lalit in the per se that Mr. Bhupal Singh was saying it to him to give the info to the family, that much like the hanging branches of the banyan tree, the family members would have to hang from the mesh from the ceiling. Faces covered, mouths taped, ears plugged with cotton, phones on silent for 6 hours, and no cooking for that day. And then this line was mentioned in the diary. Everyone will tie their own hands, and when the kriya is done, everyone will help each other untie. These people were not expecting to die. The diary even promised them that the world or the earth would have a huge boom, like you would know, and then there would be wind flowing all around, thunderstorms happening, like natural calamities would happen or something like that, and that they were instructed to put a bowl of water in the front door, and that the water's color would change, and that would be a signal that Bhupal Singh had arrived to his family. The color never changed. The Delhi Police Crime Branch had collected all the CCTV footage of the neighborhood, all the shops, everything near the house of the family. There were hours of tapes, which were like a lot of data for them to process and to go through. After going through the CCTV footages, the police officers or the investigators were able to build a timeline about the activities of the family prior to the deaths. They saw that the members of the family were going to stores to buy stools, to buy ropes, to buy different kind of equipments which would be used in their alleged deaths. June 28th, Tina and Shivam are purchasing stools from a local market. Then June 30th, 9:40 p.m., Savita and Tina were buying more stools and bandages. And then at June 30th, 10:29 p.m., Shivam, who was Lalit's 15-year-old son, opening the family's plywood store and carrying a bundle of electric wires upstairs. A 15-year-old boy carrying wires to the home from their store to set up the structure that he would himself be hanging from. The CCTV footage also confirmed that no one entered the house after 10:30 p.m. It was just the family members inside. When forensic investigators examined the bodies, they found out that one detail that is almost impossible to process. The eldest son, Bhavnesh, who was the 50-year-old guy, his body showed some sort of bruises, and like the ropes of his neck were loosened up a little bit. The forensic investigators saw signs of defense, and it is thought by investigators that Bhavnesh tried to escape from that, and he understood that death was the only way out from that position. The two 15-year-old boys had their hands and feet bound with telephone cables. Post-mortem reports found no drugs, no sedatives. In 9 of the 10, not a single defensive injury, as if they went willingly and did not double think about the acts that they were going into. After a 3-year investigation, the Delhi Crime Branch came out with their findings. They said that this wasn't a suicide, this wasn't murder, this wasn't any sort of poisoning, but this was accidental death driven by shared psychosis. A delusion so strong that it was not only affected to one person, it had affected all 11 family members. Lalit's trauma went untreated, which resulted in him bringing up these delusional topics that his father's soul was using his body as a means to communicate with the family and guide them even after his death. And every time the family followed the diaries, something good seemed to happen. So nobody ever asked the questions about where is Lalit getting all these ideas or all these instructions from, because they were working, as I mentioned. This shared delusion had caused the Burari deaths. It seems very, very normal from the outside to look at the family. They were doing their day-to-day activities, they were achieving their own personal goals, they were doing their businesses, they were doing their society duties, and even planning for the future. In South Asian families, mental health is such a taboo topic. Even nowadays, with modern technology, modern science, and everything, it's still a taboo topic to talk about. Unique stories like this of the Burari deaths bring forward the idea of modern psychological issues that not only impact one person but an entire family. The house in Santnagar, Burari, still stands with a new family living in it. After the death of the family, only one person survived, and that son of Mr. Bhopal Singh used to live somewhere else. That's why he survived. He decided to donate all the eyes of his family members for other people, a noble cause for their last action. Mental health doesn't always look like suffering. Sometimes it looks like a thriving family, just like the Chundawat family. 3 shops and a growing house and young kids and a young lady ready to start a new family. We all should take the warnings or the small signs we see among people very seriously sometimes, because you never know when one delusion of one person leads to a shared delusion of one family. My name is Sabit, and you've been watching Sabit Explains. Comment below how you like this story and what other stories would you like this channel to showcase. See you in the next one.